Tomorrow, the city of Jacksonville will honor former Mayor Jake Godbold. His celebration of life service will be held at the Prime Osborne, a convention center that he helped develop. We've brought you several stories about the lasting impact that Godbold had on the city and nearly everyone who met him. Jake Godbold's longtime friend and aide, Mike Tolbert, joins us this morning on the Morning Show. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You know, and going through the program for tomorrow, I know that family is gathering at River City Brewing, and it's interesting because that is one of the favorite places where Jake Godbold would kind of hold court, as you referred to in his biography, hold court over good conversation and good food.
That was one of his favorite things to do. And over the 50 years that I've known him, or knew him, it changed from time to time. I mean, it was Cotton's, it was Piccadilly's, it was River City Brewery, it was Jackie's Seafood. It just depended. But the last one was River City, and he loved going there.
So it's interesting because in learning about your relationship with him, which dates back 50 years, you wrote that you were smitten from really right away from when you met him, you know, when you were a reporter, a cub reporter at the Florida Times Union, and I believe he had just been elected to the city council. Is my memory right
or no? It was close. Yeah, the new city council was new, but I wasn't a cub reporter.
Okay. Well, it was a lot of years ago. Let's put it at that, right?
It was a lot of years ago. I covered the new city government, and met Jake, and I was smitten. You know, when you're in the news business, news media, nothing better than good source, good copy, and Jake was always good copy. He always had something to say, and he always knew what was going on, and he would share that, and so it began a great relationship.
What was it about his personality you think that drew so many people to him? I mean, we know that he, you know, prided himself on the fact that he was really this poor kid who grew up on the north side, you know, in the projects, as he referred to it, and public housing. And he really used that to amazingly rally a community that at the time was pretty divided when it came to race. When it came to race,
and pretty in the dumps when it came to a lot of everything. He was just he was a rare individual. I mean, he had enthusiasm for everything about life, and that's one reason we're doing this celebration tomorrow. I mean, of all the things we could talk about in his legacy, it would seem to me that the most important is the spirit that he brought to this community, the change in attitude from a city that had an inferiority complex, as I wrote, into a city with a can-do attitude, and just started achieving thing after thing after thing under his leadership. And so tomorrow, what we're going to do is celebrate that. We're going to renew that spirit.
And it's interesting because, you know, it basically starts with music, where the Saints go marching in, a testament to his love for jazz. You know, he's really credited for bringing the Jazz Festival to our city.
Right. Well, you know, I tried for a good long time to get him to sit with me and talk to me about what he wanted when he passed away. And he didn't want to do that. You can appreciate that. And then about 2 years ago, he finally agreed to sit with me for about 15 minutes. That was all he wanted to talk. But it was obvious he had already given this some thought. And so in less than 15 minutes, he talked and I wrote. And one of the things he wanted was when the Saints go marching in, and going back to the Jazz Festival, one of the things he enjoyed most about the Jazz Festival was that we always had a New Orleans brass band, one of the funeral bands with the guy with the umbrella. And I have a photograph somewhere of him dancing with that fellow with the umbrella. And so we thought, what a natural thing to do to have a brass band open this up.
I know you have several choirs also, Edward Waters College as well. It's Longino
Parsons. And there's a great story that Matt Sorgel wrote today in the Times Union about Longino and his performance. Longino came to me in 1983 and said, I'm as good as Dizzy Gillespie or anybody you got playing. He'd been playing in France and in Europe, young guy from Jacksonville. And I said, well, I want local talent in with the big stars. So I'm going to put you on the stage and we'll find out. And I'll be damned if he wasn't. You know, he was pretty good, and he still is.
So you've got Betty Holzendorf, I know, Preston Haskell, Martha Barrett, longtime friend, of course. So many people who will be sharing their memories of Mayor Godbold. We're looking forward to it. I know that we're covering it live actually here at the station. Thank you, Mike, for being
Well,
here.
thank you very much for
really
letting me. I hope we
appreciate
have
it.
a good crowd tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounds like he touched so many lives. I would be surprised if there wasn't. Now, again, Jake Godbold's memorial service will be tomorrow, held at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. It is set to begin at 10 o'clock in the morning. Doors open at 8:30. News for Jack's anchor, Tom Wills, will be the master of ceremonies. He and Godbold were friends for years. Anyone, everyone, welcome to pay their respects. It is free. You do not need tickets. But if you cannot make it in person, as I mentioned, you can watch our special live coverage here on Channel 4. We'll also be live streaming the ceremony on newsforjax.com. Our special coverage starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. However, we will start bringing you live reports here on the morning show. Kent and I will be down there starting in the 9 o'clock hour as well.